Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Fire with Dr. Ninja Turtle. And I'm here to confess that yesterday on Saturday, I did not get in my 3 miles. I was a little less than 2 miles yesterday. And so that's the first day all week that I didn't walk 3 miles. And that's because we had rain and thunderstorms. And so I walked up and down my road to the short part, to the stop sign that's closest to where I live. And that I did that 3 or 4 times, but then it started raining and I went inside. I didn't want to get too far from my place because once it started raining, I've got gnats or something out here. But once it started raining, I wanted to be able to get inside quickly. And so that's what I did yesterday. And for whatever reason, I was tired yesterday. And I slept quite a few hours, which my friend Jen at Easy Street with Jen did. So I totally identified with her sleeping a lot of hours. But I wanted to talk about the video that I just watched from Rhonda Hensley talking about, being grateful for what you have, and, how sometimes we worry about the outcome of things, and I'm right there with her. I'm in that same spot where, I have to look at my behavior. So this is really restating what she said in her video. So I'll try and link it below so that you can go watch Rhonda Hensley's video because it's really good. It's exactly where I am today. I can't worry about the outcome. And I can't so much worry about how did I get myself in this position. Somebody said, doesn't matter how the mule got in the ditch, get the mule out of the ditch. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm going to control the controllables and pay off my debt one day at a time and try to change my behavior. I'm turning around because we're heading back. The gnats are really bad out here. So I don't know how long I'll be out here walking with these guys. No cows over here in the field today. And so we're going to start walking back. And I'm just trying to stay close to home because you can see these clouds up here that there's going to be thunderstorms and heavy rain later this afternoon. And, one of the things that I'm doing in trying to pay off my debt is to keep my expenses down. So I'm not so much running the AC as I am opening windows and turning on fans. So that's just one of those things that I'm doing. But what that means is that I'm hotter than I would normally be if I had the AC on. So I'm thinking, I've been doing that for a week, so I'm going to turn the AC on today, especially when I get in from these gnats. And I'm also going to do some cardio, some indoor cardio when I get back, because it's in the mid 80s right now out here, even though it's cloudy. But I'm just not wanting to walk a whole lot out here. And I don't have my hat on because it's cloudy, so I'm not worried about the sun getting on my head, which is where, I'm trying to always protect my skin. So anyway, let's go back to what Rhonda was saying. Rhonda was saying that we need to trust that we're going to be okay. No matter what the outcome of our circumstances, we are going to be okay. And my circumstances are relationships. My circumstances are financial. I have all kinds of relationship and financial issues today. And so I have to be okay with however those things turn out. I cannot be responsible for someone else's actions and someone else's behavior, but I can be responsible for my future actions. I don't have to repeat the things that I did that got me in this situation. And that's what I got from Rhonda's video. So I wanted to make this video One, while I was out walking, to confess that I didn't do 3 miles yesterday, which I have been doing. And two, to let everybody know that we have to trust that we're going to be okay. You know, our situation, whatever it is, we are not the first ones to be in that situation. We're not the last ones to be in that situation. You know, Rhonda talked about, you know, how she had anxiety, somewhat maybe financially when she was younger. Well, I had anxiety and a whole lot of things about feeling less than. Because I'll tell you my little history from elementary school, which is that they started busing when I was in the first grade. So I was bused up to a nicer neighborhood where I was one of the poor kids in the class. So every time they went out on a field trip or we had McDonald's, you know, come in for lunch and stuff, I had to have a note saying that I was poor and that I didn't have to pay for the meal or pay for the field trip, you know, and that stuck with me. So I don't ever want, as an adult, here's my issue, I don't ever want somebody to think that I'm poor. So when my finances aren't right, I go into Daryl's poor mode. No matter how much money I have, you know, I have plenty of money, I'm okay. But my mind goes into, excuse me, all the gnats are killing me out here. My mind goes back to when I was in elementary school and the other kids would look at me like I was the poor kid. At least that's what my mind told me. I don't remember ever seeing anybody look at me like that. But in my head, I don't ever want somebody to think that I'm poor. And so when my money's not right, I go back to they're going to think I'm poor, you know, or they're going to think that I am not as good as the other people around me. And that bothers me. That really bothers me. So I've had a really rough last week and a half. But I'm coming out of it because, like Rhonda said, you know, it's all about our future behavior. What are we going to do from this point going forward? You can see the gnats on the video, they're so heavy here. So anyway, I just wanted to give everybody a little backstory about my relationship with money when I was younger. You know, I have accumulated a lot of assets to make sure that I'm never homeless again. But that doesn't change the fact that I worry about being homeless again. You know, and a friend of mine told me, he said, Daryl, you're never going to be homeless again. A whole lot of things would have to happen for you to be homeless again. Well, even though I've put up all kinds of protection barriers by stacking assets, my mind still says it's possible, right? And so I need to manage my money so that I don't ever put myself in a situation where I could possibly be homeless again. And that's just where my mind goes. None of it is real, but it's me, and it's who I am. You know, I still see myself as the poor, homeless kid in elementary school. Although I wasn't homeless in elementary school. I was homeless as an adult. But my point is that, like Rhonda said, I have to trust that I'm going to be okay no matter what happens. And I want to end with this. Never let your past determine your future.